So I'm currently 2 or 3 miles up above Copper Mountain. I am just drinking my pre-coffee because there's coffee down the hill. Then I'm going to run down and try and find a plug because my phone is pretty much dead. So I've been running Nitecore batteries for the last couple of years. They're kind of the ultralight darling, especially this one. You see it, the NB 10K recommended on all basically the thru hiker forums. I have the worst luck with these, and I hate these bloody things. This is the second one I've had. This is a Gen 2, you can see, because the lights are half decent. I got maybe 40% to 50% charge off of this, and it's done. It's a quality issue. So this is the 20K. I can use this for about 5 or 6 days as long as I take care. I've been able to stretch it longer than that. So basically this should be half of this, and yet this I'm getting 5 or 6 charges off, this I'm getting 1. And I know people have had better luck with these. There are people that swear, oh yeah, they've used this no problem. I've just been through multiples of these. It took me 3 tries to get a NB 20K where all the ports worked correctly. Had to go back with Nitecore support and everything. And like I said, I have another 10K that worked okay, but they seem to have major quality issues. I like Nitecore because these headlamps are basically the only one I would even bother with. However, they released a new version, the UL, and guess what? It's gone to crap too. And I would have switched back to Anker, except have you looked at the Anker product lines lately? They are a complete mess. I am excited because while this section's been fun, like I said, I was kind of dreading the next 200 miles because it was going to be a repeat of what I did last year. And now that I decided to jump down to the basically where I left last year, I'm looking forward to things much more. I'm about 3 or so miles away from Copper Mountain Resort. I'm going to go down there, grab some coffee and some sort of breakfast. I have been starving for days wanting real food. And my parents are going to pick me up, at which point we have to retrieve a couple of boxes. We had one sent to Breckenridge and one sent to Twin Lakes. We're now going to grab those and repurpose them further down. And then I'm going to spend the night in a hotel in Salida so I can get everything cleaned up. I haven't actually done laundry since I started, because when I parked there was stuff going on. So things are pretty ripe at the moment. And then tomorrow morning, yeah, back on the trail on the much drier southern section and then into the San Juans. The best thing is I am actually going to get those silicone hot lips that go on the edge of my cup to keep me from burning my lips on the titanium. And so I will be having hot coffee again instead of lukewarm coffee. And speaking of quality issues, as usual with Ultra. Now, granted, these are road running shoes. They're the Olympus Via. Ordered them by accident. I may actually try them when I'm on the American Discovery Trail next year because these soles are a little thicker and firmer than the normal Olympus. The normal Olympus, there is a part right here that tends to get scooped out and collapse. But yeah, I actually don't blame them too much for this particular pair just because that whole part at the head of Peru Creek was a little rougher than these were probably intended for. You can feel putting more stress on the shoes when you're coming down and your foot's wanting to like slide. Normally my scrambling shoes, like what I would use when I was in the Sierra, were kind of like nubuck leather and thicker materials that will hold up a little better than the cloth. Having said that, Ultra Lone Peaks and, and such used to hold up a lot better. If you can get a hold of like 2.5s, I think they were, 3.5, something like that, the old ones, they will last forever. The last pair I had of those, I made, I think, 500-600 miles in, and that's what I'm looking for. Ever since, they've been crap. Unfortunately, there's nobody else that makes a shoe that's actually shaped like a foot, you know, with the big toe box and everything. So last night, I basically dropped off the trail down there. So you could technically see me from the trail. I heard a couple of mountain bikers, but I generally had it to myself. And I had an absolutely lovely night, other than the fact that ever since yesterday when I did not go into Breckenridge, I have been craving real food so much. I will do long stretches without going into town. Last year, Jen and I were 18 days between leaving East Glacier and before we went into Butte. And that doesn't bother me until I'm close to town. And that's when all of a sudden the idea of real food starts hitting. When I delayed and I was charging off of that sign near the road into Breckenridge. I kept looking and seeing if there was food that was like easily accessible. Would it be worth trying to order something? And the good news is I should get a couple of nice meals today, and then I'll have a nice full resupply. This last resupply was a lot of north sides and things, which I can eat now, but I have to go kind of light on them. When I did the ECT, north sides were basically what I lived off of, because you can get them everywhere. They have them in gas stations half the time. They're, you know, the rice or pasta sides. And I just ended up burning out on them so hard. Something about the salt and just kind of aftertaste of them. Hence why I've been doing the rice and beans so much. And God help me if I burn out on those anytime soon. I don't know what I'm going to do next year, because American Discovery Trail, I'm anticipating being a lot more like the Eastern Continental on sections where obviously there's not trail side stops. So I'm going to have to make do out of a lot of gas stations and probably grocery stores. I've only just started to look at it, and I don't really plan my resupplies too far ahead. The stench and traffic noise of civilization. But there's a coffee shop down there somewhere, so it's all good. Gotta love how much better prep the Colorado Trail is versus CDT proper. I made the meetup spot a coffee shop.
My parents met me at 9 o'clock, and after a couple of cups of coffee and a surprisingly hearty breakfast burrito, we got on the move. The first stop was Breckenridge, where I had a box waiting for me at Fireside Inn. I'm always very appreciative when businesses will handle hiker boxes, but I will say that you might want to look elsewhere in Breckenridge, considering all the issues we had getting a hold of this place and getting a consistent answer out of them. Eventually, though, we were able to get my box, and we were off to Twin Lakes.
Yeah, so that's the place with the fleeces that...
I was looking at a map one time when you were talking about where you were going with the...
Twin Lakes was pretty much the complete opposite experience as Breckenridge, and I really love how friendly the general store is to hikers. Both boxes in hand, we headed for Salida, had a nice hearty Mexican food lunch, and then I holed up in the hotel to plan and fix the resupply boxes, while the weather did the thing it seems to be doing all the time now.